Appreciate the large crowd this morning. We'll go ahead and get started. It's 10 o'clock. And Water Advisory Board meeting, open session. Remember, the Water Advisory Board convened a meeting at, that's wrong one, sorry, called to order. Public comment. Issues or items that are not on the agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium. Begin by stating their name and limit remarks to less than 3 minutes. Board members may request that a discussed item be placed on a future agenda, and the Water Advisory Board takes public comment on all regular agenda items during the discussion of those items. Is there any public comment at this point? Being none, we'll go ahead and move to the regular agenda. First item A, consider approving the October 16th, 2017 Water Advisory Board minutes. Those were sent out. I hope you had time to look at those.
So move.
Got a motion by Chuck. Is there a second?
Second.
Roland, thank you. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved as presented. Item number B, late fee ordinance, section A8-007 update. Allison, good morning.
Morning. Let me go locate the clicker to the next slide real quick, and I'll be right back. Anthony's going to do it for me. Okay. We spoke about late fees in our previous meeting, and I just wanted to provide y'all with an update. Thank you. We've been working through some billing issues related to how we can change from the flat fee to the percentage base. And so we have taken this for the first reading of council, but right now we're working through the billing software side and how we can make this transition from the late fee or the set fee of $25 to the percentage base. What you see before you on this slide is just the current ordinance. They have 28 days to pay their bill, and if they are late, it is a $25 flat fee. So what we are looking at proposing is a 15%. This is reduced from what we had spoke last time. Last time we were looking more at like an 18% late fee, but with reworking the numbers, we think we can get down to the 15%, which is what I think the goal of this group was last time we met. In order to apply the percentage-based late fee, we have got to reduce the number of days for the customer to pay their bill. And we're not talking drastic. We are talking about moving from 28 days to 25 days. The reason for this is we bill monthly, and the time for them to pay their bill being 28 days, sometimes the next bill is coming out the same day as they're due. The 28-day and the 30-day to 31 days in a month coincide with each other quite often. So what has to happen is the late fee has to be processed prior to their next bill coming out. So that's why the reduction in days is needed for this system. We are still looking at a 15% late fee on the average late bill over the past 3 years is going to be approximately $18.53. So we are reducing that late fee from $25 to hopefully the average being around $18 to $19. So this was just a brief update regarding that, but the upside is that we can reduce from 18% down to 15%, but the downside is we've got to go from 28 days to 25 days. And just this slide shows how that compares to other cities. I think we looked at this last time related to the percentage the other cities are assessing their late fee to, but this also is showing that even at 25 days, we're still at one of the highest in terms of how many days we allow our customers to pay. We would be matching Odessa in terms of how many days we have to pay a bill. So that was just a brief update. I plan on taking this to a future council agenda to work through this, but we had to change 2 places in the ordinance that refer to that 28-day billing period. So this is future agenda item in City Council.
Comments?
Is the $240,000 in lost revenue going to be a big hit to the utility?
We are working through that. We think that depending on how the late fees trend, we think that we can still meet our revenue needs with the 1.24, whatever that number was.
Yes, I would just, I mean, I think, you know, it's clear to us why we've got our fees set like we do. It's according to that plan that we work so hard to get together and have the consultants and get us on the trajectory we need to be on. But I guess the thing that does come to my mind in looking at this, and my guess for the big questions either from the public and or council, is why are we at 15? And some of the communities we tend to benchmark ourselves against, like you've done here, are, you know, lower than that. And I'm just kind of curious, have you kind of looked into that, or?
I think it's because of how we established a late fee and that steady revenue of $1.5 million for such a long period of time.
As part of that plan.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've been receiving $1.5 million in late fee for so long that it's a part of our budget.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of these other cities may not have had that steady source of revenue that they've recognized with late fees.
I think when we look at the overall revenue structure of the water department, I mean, we'll take that into consideration. I mean, it goes back into, we got to look at fees and how often we adjust that, and we meet our days cash on hand, and it's just part of the entire budget process. So I know it could affect cash flow, but we'll make it up in other ways. I mean, that's just what we got to do it. That's part of business. Any other comments? I'd make a motion that we recommend to council that they adopt your presentation, the 15% and the 25 days to pay instead of 28. Second by Stan. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number C, presentation of 2018 Water Conservation Plan and discussion on conservation discounts. Paulina, good morning.
Good morning to you all. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I've never spoken at the podium. My name is Paulina, and I haven't met all of you, so I thought I'd do a quick introduction. I have just been hired by the city in October, so I've been working here 4 months. Previous to this, I worked at a different water utility in Washington State, and I was the outreach coordinator for that utility. Prior to that, I studied at the University of Denver. I have a major in environmental science, a minor in chemistry, and I focused most of my studies in hydrology and water processes. So just wanted to give you all a little bit of my background. So today I wanted to present our updated water conservation plan. The plan was put in place in 2014, and over the past 4 years, a lot has changed. And so I wanted to present those updates to you all. So I'm just going to run over each of the programs and explain how they are different, or if they have stayed the same because they are successful. So please feel free to interrupt me at any time and ask questions through all this. So the very first program in the conservation plan is the systems water audits and water loss. This is a report that we do annually, and it helps us track any unnecessary water and revenue losses and then address those losses. The second program is the metering of all new connections and retrofit of existing connections. This is the basis for our conservation pricing. And so it's a pretty significant program, and we meter all of our connections. The third program is the automated meter reading. So what this means essentially is that we have a machine that reads our meters automatically for us, sends that data to water utility staff, and the staff can now actually track for leaks. So if a customer has an unusual consumption pattern, for example, a random 6 gallons that is being used consistently throughout the night, water utilities now has the ability to alert that customer of a leak, and the customer has the potential to fix that leak before their bill gets too high or before their consumption becomes too wasteful. The fourth program is the water conservation pricing. This program was implemented previous to our rate plan, but since our rate plan, it has a couple new brackets. The way our pricing is set up is that if you use less water, you are charged less, and if you use more, your consumption and your rates also increase. So if you use more, you pay more, and it encourages water conservation that way. Prohibition on water wasting is also an ordinance. This is actually supervised by our Code Compliance Division. They have the ability to give customers warnings and also receive reports of water waste. An example of that would be your sprinklers are on and water is running more than 150 feet down pavement. Any questions so far?
What is you mentioned on the automated meter reading and that the utilities can notify customers. I mean, are they doing that real time all the time, or how does that actually?
Yes. So this program was implemented, or let me correct that. The proactive leak investigation was implemented in January of 2017. And on a monthly basis, reports are run looking for those unusual patterns. And then on a weekly basis, depending on where you live, our representatives are calling customers. If they can't reach the customer by phone, then they are being reached by mail. So the short answer would be monthly. Those leaks are being caught. And keep in mind, there are leak adjustments and things like that if people have very large leaks. So we are accommodating all sides of this.
So I had a question, Paulina, one time, like on the sprinklers, I know sprinklers are concentrated in certain parts of town, but do those inspectors go around the complete town? Do they look for water hoses going to other houses or to other places that are not homes? Do they look for water just running on the yard, other than just looking primarily for water running down the street because somebody's running their sprinkler after noon? So do we cover the entire town when we look at that?
So this program is actually reliant on reports from other people. Of course, our staff has caught a couple violations, and that could actually include watering between 12 and 6 during the summer months. It doesn't necessarily have to be the water running down the pavement, but it does rely on the phone calls and the online reports that are put in by other residents. So moving on with our programs, we also focus on public information and school education. Those programs evolve through the years. Right now we're working on a new video series as part of our public information campaign. And so every year it changes a little bit, but ultimately, it's all about educating our residents and our customers about ways they can conserve water, how they can do that, why they would benefit, and ultimately changing their behavior so that they do save water. Park conservation is one of our most successful programs. This is done in partnership with our Parks Department, and they actually have taken an incredible initiative to make this program what it is today. They have efficient irrigation methods. They have partnerships with, for example, the Texas A&M Extension Services, and offer a program called watermyyard.org, where customers can actually check and see if they should be watering their yards that day, that week, depending on their sprinkler, and also based on their geographic location. So park conservation is really a program that I wanted to highlight. And finally, for a couple years now, we have been doing the showerhead and aerator distribution. This is what it sounds like. We provide efficient showerhead and aerators, so our showerheads are not using more than 1.75 gallons per minute. We still have a few of those left, and currently I'm in the process of conducting research to see how to continue this program, what's the most effective way to make sure that residents are actually installing these efficient fixtures in their house.
How are those being distributed?
So currently I've paused the program because I wanted to distribute it in a method that I could actually gather data in, not just, put it out at City Hall or something like that. So currently it's only being distributed to groups that have received a water conservation education presentation. That was a long sentence, I apologize.
One more comment on the public information side. If you're interested in sharing that with the chamber, with our new website, then we'll run something every day as part of those blips to help the city. That way you just got more coverage. You got 1,200 members there or so, and we'll be happy to put that out.
Thank you, I appreciate that, yeah. So now we've gone to our proposed programs. The water conservation plan has been so successful that we actually wanted to make it larger. And so I have two proposed programs for you today. The first one is the High Efficiency Toilet Replacement Rebate Program. And for short, I will be referring to it as the HET program. HETs are toilets that flush 1.6 gallons or less. The lowest they are flushing currently is 1.28. And in the state of Texas, all toilets sold are high-efficiency toilets. However, only about 30% of toilets in San Angelo are flushing that efficiently. Most of our toilets are flushing 3 gallons all the way up to 7 gallons per flush. So in an effort to curb that number and actually put in more efficient toilets, we would offer a rebate. So in San Angelo, we estimate, and when I say we, I mean the City of San Angelo in partnership with Allen Plumbers Associate. This is a consulting group that did the bulk of this research in 2016 along with our rate plan. So most of these numbers are coming from their research. So they estimate that there are 36,000 toilets in San Angelo that are inefficient and that we are flushing about 6 times a day. So with the difference between the inefficient flush with the high efficient flush, we could save about 2.8 gallons per flush. And in 1 year, if we just replaced 1,000 toilets, we would already save 16 million gallons.
So you're saying in 1 year, with 1,000 toilets, you're gonna save a day's worth of water? So if we do them 100%, you're gonna save a month's worth of water?
If we do, pardon me?
If you do all of them, if you do 100%, the 36,000, that's gonna save 36 days of water.
Right.
That's gonna
Yes.
save a month of water.
Yes.
Pretty impressive.
Yes. And so in this proposal, this is a short proposal, we are suggesting a $90 rebate cost. And so the customer would have to buy the toilet, install it themselves, or hire a plumber to do it. And then they would apply to the program. And they would submit a copy of their water bill, their receipt. There's different steps to take to ensure that we get all the information we need. And then a $90 credit would be applied to their water bill. And based on that number of only replacing 1,000 toilets in the first year, this program would cost about a penny a gallon saved. So it's a pretty cost-effective program.
So let's take it a step further after I looked at this. Could we get local plumbing companies to buy into this? In other words, could we look at toilets at, HETs and get them to agree to come up with a price for installation?
That
You
is
have a
absolutely,
partnership
creating partnerships, absolutely.
And
That's something
trying
we
to
can
do
definitely
it
look into.
community-wide? So you're buying local, and you're using local independent businesses that are doing that. Might be the plumber that they use. So instead of costing a number, $85 to install it, they do it for $50. And we could buy the toilet for a better price if we bought them in volume, and maybe we can make it a partnership and really try and make it be effective. I'm worried about people doing it.
Right.
It sounds great, but you actually got to make them do it. So if we could buy in and get some people to help us.
And I think
Now-
that's the exact kind of feedback we were wanting from this, because we're just doing, Paulina's done a really high-level look at these programs and how to take our conservation efforts to the next level. So if that is something that we want to look towards or that y'all have recommendations on, that's what we're looking for in kind of enhancing the program and building it if this is something y'all are wanting to do.
If you got with Moen or somebody and said, hey, we want 1,000 toilets, give us a better price, and we save $35 a unit, and we've got them. I mean, I know it's a capital investment for some case, and then you get the plumbers to help, then we might actually get something done and actually save some real
Now-
money.
Just to clarify, would we be creating these partnerships and asking for in-kind donations from the plumbers, that they would be donating their time, or would the utility then subsidize the work,
It's
whatever,
open,
the
or a
30%?
cut price, a fixed price to install, something like that.
Well, and also replacing a toilet is not that difficult. You're talking a couple of bolts and a ring. So potentially maybe 50% of the customers, you would think. I mean, I totally plan to buy a high efficient toilet, but 2 bolts and a new wax ring is going to be nothing to install for a lot of people. Not for everybody, but for some of us. So I
Right.
think that might incentivize some of the plumbers too. Say, hey, we're not going to kill you with all this, but there's going to be some people that need some help. Let's all
Exactly.
do
I
this
mean, I'm
together.
thinking my mom sits there.
Mhm.
I know she's got a toilet that's 30 years old, and she's not going to ever think about doing it. But we might find a way to incentivize her to do it. That's all I'm saying. There's just a lot of people that I think just won't do it. They may want to, but they just won't take the time or the effort to do it. And so whatever we can
And
do to
that's
help.
kind of why I wanted to go for this program, is because toilets last essentially forever. The estimates are that the lifetime of a toilet is about 20 years, but you just mentioned your mother's toilet is probably 30 years old. And so this would be, a lifetime of water savings.
Don't print that.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things, you could do is, as plumbers, if you get that buy-in from them as they go to change somebody's hot water heater because it busted, it's, hey, by the way, did you know of this plan? I can do this right now for X or whatever. But I mean, make it, kind of a proactive type of
Go and
approach.
check the shower head. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do
Yeah.
multiple things. If
No.
you got that program, you could make it efficient by saying, I'm going to do it. We're not trying to say something. I'm just going to do a 2 or 3 point check, and we might accomplish what you're trying to do. I
No,
don't know.
those are all great suggestions. Thank you.
I feel like I ought to know this, but has there been do you have an opinion on whether focusing an effort like this in commercial versus residential would have a better or worse return? Do we know?
So the difference between focusing on commercial and the residential is that the commercial customers would probably end up saving more money because their rates are higher than residents. And so if they install the toilets, they would save more money. If you're looking at schools, for example, their toilets are being flushed much more than the toilets in an average home. So again, their returns would be much greater. And so we are looking at implementing those programs as well, potentially not in the form of a rebate for commercial entities, but perhaps, they would save the money in the long run so they can front that money. Or alternatively, running this pilot program with the residents first to see how it goes, and then maybe broadening this program to then include the commercial entities and schools and hospitals.
So since there's a state law that all toilets sold in Texas are high efficiency, that really catches all new construction, so there's no need for additional.
Exactly. So it's a replacement program, not a
Good.
building.
Is this rebate limited to 1 toilet per household, or can you?
I haven't put because I haven't written up the formal program details yet, it can range. Some cities do up to 2 toilets, some cities do 3 toilets per household. And, then that's another thing we would have to clarify. Is it per household or per account? I know of some people who have multiple accounts. So all those little details would then be cleared up in the actual program details.
Good idea.
Okay. So, phase 2 of our proposed programs would be a very similar program, but for washing machines. Again, we have this government program that puts in efficiency measures for different washing machines. This is the Energy Star program. The difference between the washing machines and the toilets is that, one, a washing machine has a shorter lifespan. It only lasts about 10 years. And secondly, there still are inefficient washing machines in the state of Texas. So you could purchase one of those. So our hopes would be to first test out our toilet rebate program. And if that is successful, then implement this program so that we can really broaden our reach and our permanent water conservation efforts. So the washing machines would save about 12 million gallons if we did, you know, a similar pilot program. And the rebate cost would be the difference between an inefficient toilet and an efficient toilet, not the full cost of a washing machine, unlike the toilet program where $90 could cover the full cost of a toilet. So you're probably asking yourselves how we're going to pay for this program. And so I wanted to bring us back to our conservation discounts ordinance. So currently our ordinances state that if you use 3,000 gallons or less in a month, you receive a 10% discount on your water bill. This is typically applied as a form of a credit on your bill. However, our conservation pricing already rewards our customers with an incentive to save water. So if they're using less water, they are paying less for their water. The conservation discounts cost about $250,000 for the utility annually. And again, this is just being given to customers who are just using less water. They may not necessarily be trying to save water. This may just be their annual or monthly consumption. The rebate programs are, especially the toilet one, is essentially a permanent conservation program. And so if you install a toilet, you will forever be saving water every time you flush. And so staff would propose that we use the conservation discount money towards these permanent programs that would save water, and we continue to give the money back to our customers, but it would be in the form of these rebates. It wouldn't be in the form of the conservation discounts.
I guess it would actually spread that conservation dollars broader, because like you said, some people, they're just not using that much water anyway. I mean, maybe. And so you're actually able to draw more people into conservation, I think, through something like this.
Absolutely.
The one thing I talked about earlier is, I'd probably target those low-end users first. I mean, and I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking the people that use 3,000 gallons or less, and a lot of those people probably have those 6-gallon toilets. And so if we're taking that away, then we could turn around and give them that program and try and hook them up with somebody to put that in, and it works both ways. So, I mean, they're getting something for what they're losing. $3 doesn't seem like a lot, but it does to some people. And so to try and be proactive in doing that, I think that's who I'd try to hit first, because that's probably where a lot of your non-efficient products are.
Absolutely. And, the $90 is a standard dollar amount throughout other rebate programs, and it was what was suggested to us by the consultant agency when they conducted their study. Odessa does $75, but we can also go above 90 if that's something we wanted to do, is increase that amount.
Pretty strong amount. Everybody okay? I like it.
Okay, great. So we do have to change the ordinance currently. It states that our water conservation plan is the 2014 water conservation plan. We would just update that to 2018. And then we wanted your recommendation on how to move forward with the conservation discounts, whether to reappropriate those funds towards new programs instead of conservation discounts.
Recommend program?
To reallocate? Okay, so moved.
Second.
Second by Chuck. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Paulina, good job. Welcome.
Thank
Good to have you here.
Thank
Good job.
I hear we signed you to a 10-year contract,
Kind of exciting.
right?
No, and I truly appreciate all of your feedback. As we're developing this program, your opinion is highly regarded, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good presentation. Item number D, update on Hickory expansion. Allison?
She's a lot taller than I am. So I don't have a slide presentation for this. I just wanted to give y'all a brief update. I know that the Hickory expansion is the project at the top, and it's the one that we need to focus on and get completed. So I just wanted to give y'all a brief update of where we are with that. We put out an RFQ, request for qualifications, in November. We received 4 submissions from engineering firms in December. We formed a selection committee and have been reviewing those proposals. And we have started negotiating with the top-ranking firm. But how we plan on moving forward is we are closing out the original $120 million loan that was originally borrowed for the initial Hickory expansion. There is approximately a little over $2 million left in that Texas Water Development Board loan. So we are working with them to close out the original projects and then ask them to use the remaining funds to get started on the next leg of this expansion and the final one. So that is what we are working on. I just wanted to give you all an update. And we're pressing forward as fast as we can for 2 reasons. One, we want to get the expansion of the Hickory done and the full build out, and so that we can pump and treat our full allocation. And then the next is because we want to do the improvements and the expansion while we own the ranch, so that we can get out there, get to work. We're coordinating with the leasee and not another private landowner. And so those are the reasons we are, moving forward. But I just wanted to give you all an update of where we are. I know that there's not anything, out in the open, right, or not open, but that it may look like we haven't done anything related to that. But I just wanted to let y'all know we are moving forward with that project.
Timeline on negotiation with the top or the lowest bid, however you look at it. Give us a timeline on.
I
how you
hope to
see this
take
playing out.
the Task 1 contract to council hopefully late March, early April.
So once the engineer's selected, then will they submit the plans to the TCEQ, or what is the process on that? Or is that already done?
No, the engineering work related to the new wells is not done, or the expansion of the groundwater treatment facility. So the engineer would be coordinating with TCEQ as well as us to get those plans approved. And they also have to go through, if we continue to use Texas Water Development Board money, we would also have to approve plans through them as well.
Allison, but I think it's safe to say, though, there is a sense of urgency, and you do have a target date of when you would like to get the new supply online. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, the Hickory is online, but I guess what do you mean by?
Well, the study's for the additional expansion, correct?
Yes, it's ready to go, yes.
So
What you're asking is, when are we gonna drill new wells and get it up to
Exactly.
90% capacity like we
Well,
talked
we
about
have,
earlier?
the way the ranch purchase was set up is that we have a 5-year window, that we can do this work while we still own it, and then be able to sell the ranch and be able to pay off that debt that purchased the ranch. So we are hoping to do everything within that 5-year period.
Okay. Questions? Any other questions?
I was just gonna, what about the bid to bank permit stuff that we'd talked about once before? A different project, right? But the other, I think that's what it's called, or stream, I can't remember.
Correct. So we're working through the feasibility study, and that is a part of that. And so I don't have any update for you right this moment on it, but we are still working towards that, or looking at that.
That's all a part of that new Allen Plummer study that's gonna, I'm assuming.
Yes, that's a part of the engineering feasibility study.
When do you expect that to be?
I believe it was an 18-month contract when we set it up. I think we started that back in August of last year, so 18 months from that time.
So that'll be good timing because, as you know, the Region F, the 2021 water plan is going to be evolving, and so that'll be good timing for potential SWIFT funding when you guys want to put the next set of stuff up. We'll realize that there is currently, and we'll know more as we get a little closer, but Friesen Nichols, I'm on the Region F board, and Friesen Nichols is the the engineers in charge of doing the majority of it. Currently, there is some pretty significant drop in water usage both municipal irrigation, a lot of stuff. And we'll find out about that more, and certainly Allison can help us out with that later as we go on. But there could be some additional funding opportunities that aren't on the table yet that we may see in months to come.
Other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Good job, Allison.
Okay, is there any announcements and consider future agenda items? Item number E. Y'all have anything, Allison or Paulina, coming up?
No, not at this time. I guess we'll work on the next meeting to be around the May timeframe, but we'll coordinate with y'all as that time gets closer.
Anybody on this group have anything they want to bring up for future items?
Yeah, not future items so much, but I sent Allison an email a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if y'all are following what's going on in Cape Town, South Africa with day 0, but pretty scary stuff. And you see how that's unfolding, and you look at some of the pictures and imagery of those reservoirs effectively dry now, and it's something that you kind of think, man, could that ever be us here? And taking steps, and even 16 million gallons, it all adds up, I guess. I mean, you can never do too much, I guess, is the only point I'm making.
You talk
Pretty
about that's one day's worth of water, but you think about it, what are you going to do with the other 364?
No, that's right.
I mean, it sounds great, and you got to do everything you can, but it's, in the whole scheme of things, it's not much. I mean, you got to do
Anyway,
it. But anyway,
just a little aside, but yeah.
that's a heck of a thought to leave us with there, Stan.
Well, it's a sobering thought. I mean,
So, the only other thing I have is I want to congratulate Allison on her
yes.
promotion. I think it was a
Thank
very,
you.
very wise choice.
Mhm.
So we congratulate you and glad you're here.
Thank
You
you.
and Paulina will make a good team.
Yeah, great job. Ladies.
Anybody else have anything? If not, there a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Got a motion to second. Second to Stan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good meeting. Thanks for the information.